Okay, my friends, here it is. I'm getting all excited because it is time to harvest potatoes, or almost time, depending on where you live and what varieties you have planted. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you exactly what to look for so that you can harvest your potatoes at the right time so they will keep and store the longest amount of time possible. Now, I'm going to say a few words about it, and then I will show you some specific examples in the garden. Now, first we must understand what a potato is and what is its natural growth cycle. So a potato is not a root or a fruit. It is a tuber. And the growth habit of tubers is like this. They put down roots downwards, they put plant the shoots, the green part, upwards, and then they produce more tubers outwards, so that next year the tuber that is out here will produce another plant, and then it will produce tubers outwards, and then the following year it will grow more from those tubers, and like that, that's how the plant would naturally spread. Okay, so to do that properly, the natural, beautiful perfection, intelligence that is in the plant knows that in order to give this tuber the best possibility for producing another plant next year, we have to give it all we got. We got to give it all the best nutrients and minerals, and we got to let it store as long as possible. So the plant will naturally begin to do that. As the end of its life cycle comes to an end, starts to approach, the plant will naturally begin to shuttle the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the life force. It will begin to shuttle the life force out of the plant material and into the tuber to give it the best possibility for a good life next year. Yes? And so what we have to do is we have to understand this procedure, this perfection of nature. And we have to say, okay, well, nature's already designed this thing to store all winter long. This is stored solar energy. This is stored energy from the sun. This is a combination of elements. And so we need to look for these exact things. We need to let the plant completely die back, because in nature, that's when it would have the most life force stored within it, is when the plant has totally died back. So we wait until, and you'll see examples out in the garden, we wait until the plant has died down completely, brown, crispy, and then we wait an additional 2 weeks, because it is during that time that the tuber skin becomes nice and thick, or as thick as genetically possible. Russet potatoes have a much thicker skin than like dark red New Orleans or the Yukon Golds, but it'll thicken up the skin as much as possible because the plant wants to give it the best chance to survive until next year. So to do that, it's gonna fill it with vitamins, minerals, life force, and a thick skin. Okay? So it is at that time that we will harvest this bounty of the earth, and we will store it in the basement. Now, there's 3 common mistakes that people make when they harvest potatoes. The very first one is that they get impatient and they think, well, I want potatoes now. So they tear up the whole plant and they go, oh, well, this is kind of a dismal yield. Oh, this is not really that great. Well, that's because you didn't wait long enough, okay? So the key is to wait till, like I said, the whole plant dies back. Now, if you don't want to wait that long, if you want some potatoes, very gently, starting about a foot away from where the plant is coming out of the ground, very gently go in, dig your hand down into there, and you'll feel around until you feel a tuber and gently pull it out, okay? You can do that from 1, maybe 2 tubers per plant, and the plant will continue growing. It will continue producing more tubers until it dies back, when its life cycle is complete. We call those new potatoes when you do it that way. And the skins are very, very thin, and the potato is very soft and buttery and delicious. So definitely get you some of those, but leave the plant to full maturity. That's when you get the best results. The second mistake I see people make is they'll damage the potato when they're trying to harvest it because maybe they didn't use the grow bag method. I'll put a link to that video here. But if you use the grow bag method, you don't have to worry about this because you just reach your hand into the soft, fluffy soil and there you get them out. But if you have to dig down with a shovel or a fork, I see people hitting them all the time. And if you scrape the skin it's not going to keep. It's not going to store. It will still store for a month probably, maybe even a month and a half or 2 months just sitting on your counter. But it's not going to store 5 months long, all winter long, like I'm talking about them doing and like I do. So because there's a very specific, well, I won't even get into that. Just let me know in the comments if you want to see me make a video on specifically how to store potatoes for a long time, because there's specific things that need done. And I'll at least show you exactly how I make mine. So let me know if you want to see that video, how I keep them all winter long and eat them all winter long. But anyways, this leads me into the third big mistake, is that people wash them. So the plant, the natural intelligence of the plant, which is so far beyond human comprehension, the perfection of nature. And the plant uses all sorts of signals to know when to come out of dormancy, when to start sprouting. Okay, and one of those things is the relationship with the microorganisms, the micro community of microorganisms that exist in the soil. And so when we pull it out of the ground, we leave the soil on it, because that is going to give all the signals to the plant that it's still in the ground. Remain dormant, because it's got the microorganism relationship. If you wash the potato and put it somewhere, you will see they will begin to sprout after a month or maybe 2 months. But if you have unwashed, and I've done this, so I know this for a fact, if you have a batch of unwashed potatoes and a batch of potatoes that you've washed all the water or the soil off of, if you put them side by side in the same cellar, the one that you washed, every single one of them will sprout well before the ones that you did not wash. I know that for a fact. So, okay, my friends, I'm going to take you outside and we're going to look at some specific examples. But thanks for stopping by. Tomorrow there's a live stream on this channel. There's a Q&A live stream, so hit that up. Also, big shout out to all the people that are using the link in the description to make a donation to the PayPal or the super thanks, the heart with the money sign. Thank you very much. That inspires me to keep this operation afloat. And guys, another way you can help the channel, just leave a comment, okay? First thing that comes to mind, just leave a comment. Shows the algorithm that this is worthwhile knowledge and we can grow the channel, okay? Okay, first thing I want to show you is some very healthy plants that are nowhere near ready to be harvested. Now, when you start seeing the flowers, that is when the plant is starting to produce its tubers. So anytime after you see the flowers, you can gently dig in there for the new potatoes like I explained to you. But these plants are nowhere near ready for harvest, as opposed to these plants over here, which are just beginning to start to die back. And you can tell by the difference in vigor. The plant vines have fallen over. There's still a lot of vigorous green growth, but there's no more flowers. They've all dropped off, and they're starting to just look a little bit ill. And that's the natural cycle of the potato. These are still a month away at least. Now here we are at the potato grow bag fence line, and you can see these potatoes are much further along, and the vines have started to die back, and you can see they're all laying over. There's some brown crispy leaves happening, but there's still some growth. So these are going to be at least 3 weeks away from being harvested. Okay, as opposed to these ones here, which are ready to be harvested. They are totally crispy, dead brown, and they've been like this for about 2 weeks. And so we can tell, we just pull it and they just snap right off. You see, these are ready to harvest. We pull it and it breaks. And the plant material, it snaps like a matchstick. It snaps in my fingers. So no doubt these are ready to harvest. So why don't we just dig in? And sure enough, there we go. We will just dig in gently and see if there is some potatoes. And of course there is. And if we dig a little bit deeper, we will be able to find enough for dinner. These are a Gold Rush russet potato, and they're very soft and buttery and delicious. So hopefully you now have the knowledge you need to harvest potatoes properly, my friends.